Oh, you're waiting for the clap. I know you've missed it. It's been a while. What's going on, everybody? I'm Seth Miranda. This is Adorama Rewind. And don't worry, I am not the MCU. I am not Game of Thrones ending on you. I'm not Star Wars calling it a day. Those franchises are walking out, but I'm here. I'm here for you. I know it's been a while. I know it's been a minute. Pretty much it just got crazy hectic. Then we had the holiday coming up, closing down for a week. It was just a lot going on, and I'm back. So we have some big news coming out to talk about at the end of this. There is so much that piled up. We're gonna get through it. There's some really amazing, high-end great news, and there's some really devastation that's happening out there. And I've heard your cries. I've seen the emails, the DMs, the messages. Everybody's been sending me stories. Ask me when I'm gonna come back and talk about it. Well, here I am, and you know what? You get to talk about it too. So don't forget, in the comments, you guys can discuss everything and anything we're about to talk about and respond to each other. It's a community. Don't forget that. That's kind of the best part about this show, is that I see the same people coming back every week to talk, and you know, that's what you go to your news sources for. But this is also a social means of sharing information and point of views. You know, you guys bring out stuff every week that I don't think about when I'm talking here to a random camera here. I'm speaking to a void until I see those comments. So having said all that, I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Let's get back to business as usual. I'm here for you. Let's go through this in super awesome, amazing, uplifting news. Oh, already screwed up, see that? No, you can't use any internet photo as fair use. They appealed the Virginia federal court that said that sure, you can use images off the internet. So this was a photographer, Russell Brammer, right here, shot this, and then he found his images later cropped, used on Flickr and other places. This was an uproar. He went to court with it, and the judge looked at it and said, nah, it's fine, don't worry about it. Well, that was in July of 2018, and now they took it to an appeals court and they flipped it. So now it's going to go to, well, it's in the U.S. Court of Appeal, Fourth Circuit, and that's where they flipped it. And now they said, hey, it's not fair use, and now it's going to federal trial court. So we'll see what happens there. So yeah, this is a win, but there is still further down the line to go. We'll see what happens here. In the end, it's still an amazing achievement that it only lasted like a few months, that they said, wait, this is crazy. And they heard the cries of photographers out there going, you can't just take our stuff and then ruin an industry or a market, or even the fact that people are putting their images out there and then anyone can snag them. But on the flip side of that, so that just so you guys know, and I've been hearing nonstop about this, photographers listed as among the worst jobs in the US. So yeah, that's what they're saying. So this is actually Chris Gambit for the Blogger. So they're saying that it's the yearly income is around $34,000, which is under the median wage of $37,690. As they're saying that the employment has shrunken, that there's not that many employed, the level of money that you can make has gone down. You know, you gotta take everything with a grain here, because the industry has changed. But of course it has changed. The technology has changed. The means that we create the imagery has changed. The need for the imagery has changed. The need for the product itself has changed. The concept of what they need the images for have changed. I mean, eBay didn't exist forever ago, and people did that for a living, just shooting product for people, and also e-commerce, all sorts of things, social media, people just needing to have lifestyle blog images and things like that didn't exist. So things do die, things do emerge, jobs are created. Look, I never thought I'd be doing this job. It was created via social media, pretty much, you know. But I have shot for like 20 years, and I'm, in my experience, having gone through the film era, having taken a huge hit when everything went from film to digital, and people devaluing what photo was because you weren't spending money on film, or you know, it didn't take like 2 weeks to get your image and stuff like that. And more people coming into the market base as far as being professionals or whatever you want to call it. You have to assimilate and you have to grow. You create your own opportunities. If you want to go be a photographer, go be a photographer. Bang on some doors, go assist, get on those sets, figure out what area of the game you want to get into, because that could change everything. You know, my career started out in one genre and went heavily and was known for a completely different genre. And that's okay. I didn't see it coming, but I went with it. I assimilated. And if you're a photographer that's only going to be offering the same product with just an image at this price, whatever, yeah, you're gonna feel it, because there's other photographers out there that are offering video or able to give them a GIF image for their e-commerce or their social media to display their merch along with some headshots. And you have to grow your toolbox, and you have to grow your skill set, and you have to grow what you can offer your clients. And to get those clients, you're gonna have to hustle a little harder, because we're moving at a faster pace than ever before. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that things have shrunk, but it doesn't surprise me that people haven't gone along with the way things are moving. And every photographer that goes out there and does that job for free does hurt the next photographer that's trying to charge people for their clients. So if you're building a book, be wary of when you do things for free, the trade for print. At some point you have to stop, put your foot down, and get paid. Gear costs you money. Your time is worth money. The amount of time you spend on this channel right here to learn how to shoot better, how to create content better, how to elevate your own game costs something, okay? So we are responsible for our own market to some degree, and you're responsible for your own career to some degree. So yeah, people are hurting out there, and yeah, the industry has changed. And I'm sure that people that were getting a few thousand for weddings are getting, you know, not half as much or something like that. But maybe it's easier and faster for you to do the turnaround now, or maybe you can, with the technology, you don't have to bring as much gear, or you can get that shot faster and give a larger volume. I'm speaking a lot about this one because this article alone, which was in USA Today, has been flooding my personal inboxes from everybody that subscribes to any channel I'm on. So does it concern me? Of course it does. But do I think it's the end of the world? No, I don't. And if there's one thing about freelance that you have to understand, is it's always up to you. Always up to you. Okay? All right. Wow. And just to put a real cherry on top of that, we are creating more content and images than ever before, and there's more of a need than ever before. So you have to find a way to assimilate, okay? Find a way to change your game, change your pricing, change your workflow, and optimize yourselves and your own businesses, okay? I'm sure I can feel you pounding on those keyboards right now in those comments, but hey, let's talk about this civilly. That's where I stand on this. Okay, having said all that, the pros in the world, the press photographers out there, the photojournalists, in 2019, they found out what gear they were using, so check it out. Apparently, it's still predominantly Canon 46.4, Nikon 36.8, and Fuji coming in at third at 10.5, and we're looking at Sony at 2.6 and Leica at 2.6. And the systems themselves, we're looking at 71 being the DSLR still. So they haven't even switched over to mirrorless. You can see right here that mirrorless is 4.4 out of the range, and here's the actual models. This is from the metadata from the cameras. Some of the shots did not have data, obviously. You can't always have the data. In fact, I think this right here, is it? Yeah, no data on 15.5. But you can see that the Canon 5D Mark IV was strong, the Nikon D5 on third, and you got a bunch of slew of others. Basically, Nikon, Canon coming through on all of it, and a lot of the Fujis coming up on third, and there's the Sony A7R II down there with the Leica Q. Sensor size, we're looking at full frame dominating at 73. We got 11.1 for APS-C, and there's been no data on the yellow square here. You know, that could be whatever. But that goes to show you that just because you're seeing all this marketing for mirrorless RAW and, you know, full frame RAW, and, you know, this company sounds like it's really hot right now and everyone's jumping to it. Yeah, maybe the masses are, but professionals that trust their tools aren't. And this also goes to show you that cameras like the D5 and the 5D Mark IV, which are a few years old, professionals go with what has been working for them, what has not failed them, and the systems that they trust and know and don't have to relearn or jump on features that they just may not need. Just because they exist doesn't mean they need it in their workflow. They need to take the camera out of the equation when you're a photojournalist. You have to actually be there for the moment, and the last thing you want to do is have a camera that could fight you or go automatic on something that you didn't want it to do. And this just goes to show you that just because something new came out doesn't mean yours is obsolete. And this is definitely a different thought process than someone who's a hobbyist, who might be psyched on the features, who might get elevated and jazzed up to go shoot because of the features. But if you're a workhorse out there, you kind of just want to have tough gear that is dependable, that you know what you're getting every time you pull it out, and that's what you're looking at. So that's pretty cool. And it's definitely a contrast, right? Based on everything else that we've been seeing out there with like full frame mirrorless, raw, and they're all going, no, we're sticking with DSLR for a little while. Myself included. I'm still on a Nikon D850 system. I really love it. I do pick up some mirrorless systems every now and then. I do share gear with Daniel Norton. He just picked up a Z6 to play with, and I've been messing with that. But my go-to, what I know in my hands, is a DSLR, so I've been sticking with that. You know, goes to show you what's up. All right, so this is going to be a slew of new lenses that are coming out. Apparently everybody's popping out with new glass, and that's because there's so many new camera bodies out there. And what else can you sell after you come out with these amazing monster releases? You know, the Sony's Alpha line, the Canon R series, the Nikon Z series, the Panasonic S series. Everything's a letter, right? S series, Z series, whatever. It's always a letter and a number. So now they're coming out with all these lenses, especially third party, like Tokina right here is unveiling the 100mm 2.1 macro lens for Sony. So look at this little guy. Well, it's not really little, but 100mm 2.8. That's brilliant. Look at the scaling on this, which is pretty cool actually. And here's your, you know, your elements map and everything like that. And there it is hanging. That's how cool you could look. That's how cool you could look. But it's a macro lens, and macro actually does mean 1-to-1 ratio. It doesn't just mean close up, and I think people don't know that actually. 9-blade aperture, so you get that smooth, and 55mm diameter on the filter, I believe. And there you go, real nice and tight, real close. And I think the price tag's pretty easy at $600, so they're hitting shelves this month. Macro does mean 1-to-1, meaning that if you had, let's say, a 1-inch sensor and you put a macro lens on that camera, if you shot a ruler, you would measure your sensor and it would be a photo of 1 inch. That's really what macro means, is a ratio of 1-to-1, so it's life size. Let's go to the next one, which is the Zeiss 100mm 1.4. So this is a beast lens. Oh my God. I think Zeiss actually was quoted as saying, like, we put out the Otus series without having a factor of cost. Like, we wanted it to just be the best quality lens we could do without compromising for cost. They put out the 28-1.4, 55, the 85-1.4, and now this is a 100mm 1.4. They're saying it gives you the quality of medium format systems. We'll talk about that in a second, but of course, the T-Star lens. Man, look at the body style on these things. Really sexy stuff. So we are looking at 11 groups, 14 elements, minimum focusing distance of 3.28 feet. That's about a yard, maybe a meter or so. But the real big deal about this is no color fringing. What does that mean? See here how light's flying past green? In the past with lower quality glass or other types of group elements and things like that, you would see some sort of color fringing in these color bursts right here, like probably like a magenta or a pink or something like that. And they're really harping on the fact that there's no color fringing. These lenses do cost a bunch. We're looking at $4 to $5 grand for the lenses that have been out in this series so far. There is no price on this one yet, but I wanted you to keep watching this if you are a Zeiss fan. This is some amazing glass. It looks pretty great. The sample image I've been seeing from it are very impressive. And color fringing has been something that's been an issue for a long time, especially in higher res digital cameras. Now that we're shooting like 47 megapixels and things like that on full frame. In the past, I remember when digital first started, if you shot like snow on a rock, between the snow and the rock, there would be like a magenta, like weird ghosty fringe. You'd be like, what is that? And you just lived with it. I think we're getting to a point where we don't want to live with it anymore. And lenses are amazing, but this is saying it completely eliminates it. Probably great for wedding photographers with that white dress flying next to these beautiful open light areas. I don't know. Let me know if you're someone that's interested in the Otus line. Let me know if you're someone that owns a lens in the Otus series. I would love to hear how that's working out for you, because it's some high quality stuff and you're paying for it. So on the other side of stuff, this seems like a really good all-around lens. A 35 to 150, 2.8 to f4, Canon and Nikon from Tamron. So this is it right there. 35 to 150, 2.4, that's pretty fast. Of course, as you zoom, you're gonna, the aperture will change to f4, which is probably what's keeping the cost down to $800. If you wanted that lens to be 2.8 all the way through, first of all, the front element would be huge, and secondly, you're probably paying about 3 times the price. But that's kind of cool. 77mm filter size, if you're someone that worries about you know, you have a set of like polarizers or something you want to use. It is a 17-inch lens apparently, a 17-inch minimum focusing distance apparently. I'm sorry, I'm going a little too fast. Let's slow it down. But that's another really affordable option. If you're someone that's just getting into it, you're not sure what focal lengths you like to shoot at, you pop this on, you go from 35 to 150. You'll know if you're someone that really likes to see the world as a wider angle, if you're someone that really likes to compress your backgrounds against your subjects, and you're not killing yourself on the money. Until you start seeing what you like about the qualities of a lens, you don't really need to spend that much, but you should have something that makes you want to shoot. That's the key here, want to shoot. And this is a cool one too. So 50mm 0.95 Canon RF mount, the Nikon Z mount, and Sony E. We are looking at, first of all, it's pretty cute looking. It's got the nice little chrome. It looks like, you know, a nice throwback to the good old days of metal bodies and stuff like that. You got the scaling and everything. Of course, the manual lens being 0.95. And I think this is pretty cool because, one, everybody's been talking about these like these unicorn apertures of like below f1, and you know, there's no the autofocus at that shallow depth of field is just not really something that's optimal right now, or at least not cost effective or engineering wise. So Nikon made a big deal about their knocked lens that was 0.95, and it's like enormous and like $6,000. This thing is about 800 bucks. So you can get into what it feels like to shoot that shallow and see the qualities of something of this style lens without having to kill yourself, or maybe you don't even know if you want to get into it and rent it and spend the money. Like, you could literally just like, or if you're actually, I came across someone this weekend that was really interesting. They're a camera club, and they all make a collective decision to buy like a lens and then share it amongst each other if they all are in the same family. Like, they all shoot Sony, they all shoot Canon or whatever. I thought that was pretty cool. So you could all chip in like a couple $100 and all have an 0.95 lens if you wanted. I didn't even think of that, but that's pretty cool. There's clubs that exist like that. It's pretty cool that photo is that communal. Speaking of the new systems, because that was for like the Z mount, the R mount, and the E, this is the new eye autofocus coming to the Nikon Z series. So this is this was like a teaser kind of thing. They're showing you how well it works. You can see it's pretty sticky there, and even though she's moving and all that stuff, and she dips her head, and look, she's waving in front of her eyeball, and it still sticks. Amazing. So this is the firmware that will be coming for the Z series in the next coming months. May is dropping the first firmware update. We're gonna see things like the eye autofocus, better autofocus in general, the CF Express card slot upgrade from the XQD card slot. So I just want you guys to know that if you do have a Nikon that shoots XQD and you upgrade your firmware for the CF Express card slot, you can still use your XQD. It doesn't like convert over to just CF Express. It's just that they use the same physical interface of the card. It looks identical. So now you can use both cards if you wanted to. CF Express, I think, is gonna take it in the future. It's the fastest. It can hold huge capacities, and it's very strong physically. So I think it's gonna be a strong contender, especially with Panasonic using it now, and other cameras are now using CF Express. Also, with the new firmware updates, you're going to be looking at the 12-bit color for video out onto an Atomos recorder. There's a lot of things happening with these firmware updates. It's kind of crazy. It'll blow your mind out, but at least you know that, like I've been saying in past episodes, that when you buy a camera or buy anything, now it's a lot about the hardware and not so much the features that are in the interface, because they could just do a firmware upgrade. Look what Sony just did with the A9. Now it has this ridiculous autofocus, half depressed eye autofocus, real-time autofocus. I mean, Sony is like the king of firmware updates. Fuji, they put out a camera a couple of years ago, and then they gave you a firmware update. All of a sudden it does 4K video. It's like, wait, what? Yeah, it's not always about the features that come out of the box, but what can that hardware handle? And things like the Panasonic S series has the Venus processor in it, which can handle insane amount of data. Who knows what that firmware is going to do going forward, you know? So, oh man, I feel like I just talked a ton about gear. So let's talk about some more socially stuff, like Instagram sues a company that made $9 million selling fake likes and followers. So pretty much what happened was a New Zealand company called Social Media Series used a number of different websites, I'm reading it from this website, and series to sell fake activity, including Social Envy, IGFamous.net, and LikeSocial.co. People paying $10 to $100 a week just to have an active robot that would go out there and like or leave generic comments, or you know, it would actually produce likes for your page. It would just keep your Instagram constantly working. And Instagram isn't stupid, and they're owned by Facebook. There's a ton of resources behind this company, and they can actually see what is genuine and what isn't genuine activity. And if they sense it, they do send you a message. I saw some people get it that says something like, you know, you may have given your password out to a third-party company. We suggest that you change your password. And I've actually seen people get their accounts locked, or just Instagram says like, no dice, like we're deleting your account because we gave you a warning, which is kind of crazy. But also, I know you can spend years building an Instagram. I know you can spend every day on it. You're building your house in someone else's backyard. So if they want to, they can just shut it down. So don't be surprised by that, and watch yourself if you're using any type of bots, auto likers, buying likes, buying followers. Buying followers is the worst. The auto comments is insane. It's like someone puts a picture of their grandma that says like, rest in peace, and it's like this somber moment, and then there's like a generic comment like, awesome photo, or it's like, what are you doing? Like, it's a social platform, so go be social, and it'll come back to you. Having said that, there's also this. So Instagram is actually testing out hiding the number of likes on a post. So the count that goes on an image, right over here, you'll no longer see how many people actually liked it, which is kind of interesting. So they're testing it out. I did say a long time ago, like, what if we took away all the numbers and we just had the content? Would people thrive? Would these influencers really exist, right? Because a lot of times we base things off of, oh man, look how many other people like this. Why aren't I liking it? Why aren't I following this page? Or how legit is this photographer? They only have 1,000 followers. Yeah, but maybe because they're more busy shooting for high-end publications or actually having a career than placating to social. Just saying. You know, I can't really talk because I play heavy on Instagram. I do actually enjoy the platform a lot, actually. But, you know, this is kind of game changing, right? Like, what if we took away the statistics and just made it about what we actually gravitate to? Will this change a lot of things in business? Will companies go, well, we can't even tell what your activity is. How do we know that if we give this influencer this sponsorship that it's worth it? We did see in the past that some influencers got like $7,000 a post and there was no ROI on it, return on investment. And now they're only getting back a couple $100 a post, and they're slinging things like tooth whiteners and stuff like that. So I don't know about you, but my rule of thumb is when I see someone use a tooth whitening thing on their Instagram, I just unfollow. I'm like, well, that's that. This isn't content anymore. It's an infomercial. Let me know what you think about that. Are you someone that even is concerned about looking at someone's page and going, if no one else is really liking it, do you even bother following it? Do you let it just, or do you help it grow? I mean, I think that's the key, is if I see something I like and no one else is liking it, I kind of let people know, like, look at this guy, look at what they're doing, look at what this person is creating, or look at what their point of view is, or things like that. I kind of dig it. Let me know what you think about that. I'm really, really curious. So this one's pretty cool. Let's get back a little bit to gear. Yashica unveils 3 35mm cameras, film cameras, and 2 new films. So here we go. Look at that. So 24 exposure, ISO 400 films, and 3 cameras right here. Over here, we're looking at the MF1, which is literally like a reloadable, a disposable camera. This guy over here is more of an automatic point and shoot, and not that this isn't a point and shoot. And this is the twin lens Yashica 44. So right now, this is the one that's coming out first. They said they're going to release them in like episodes, kind of, and you can see that it's an f11 at 1/20th of a second. Takes AA batteries, and literally it looks like a disposable camera, right? And it's really just for fun. I guess there's some light leak action going on here. It's very, plastic lens looking, very Lomo style. And the films are kind of cool because the Yashica 400 is like a portrait base, so they really concentrated mainly on skin tones. And then the golden 80s limited edition has a punchy saturation on the warm tones that you can see here, like these little like bursts over here of just like color splash from warmer tones, like especially here. Look at that. Wow. It gives you that vintage feel. I guess it's like a preset. Not kidding. And the MF2, this is the automatic point and shoot, and a twin lens reflex, which I guess is more of a waist level viewfinder. You can check out more about that. Of course, they did just release the Y35 Digifilm, which no one really was into. They seem to be playing around a lot with this whole like harping on, pulling on the strings of the vintage or the analog people, or even their body styles really look like throwbacks to what was. But do we need these cameras? Let me ask you that. if there's, every day I see piles of point and shoots that from whatever brand, no name brands that have this kind of look to them. Do we need a new one? Can we just go after the old ones, the mounds and mounds of decades of these cameras that were built? Let me know down below. I think the twin lens reflex is pretty cool. I do like new film stocks. I think that's always awesome. And of course, if you buy into them, they'll have the resources to create more and different ones. So that's kind of fun. And if you're someone that's heavily in digital, I urge you, go grab a used camera, throw a roll of film in it, and go see what you can do for a weekend. And do it on your own terms. Don't do it for a job. Don't do it for people with social expectations. Don't bring it to a party just because you're the cool guy with the camera. Go enjoy yourself. And just see how good you are with a light meter in camera, how good you are with just being confident with what you got inside that camera without having to chimp at a screen, and get more confident with your decisions. Or maybe just go shoot, not care, and just see what the camera gave you. Just saying, it's a lot of fun, especially slide film, just saying. Okay, so this one's a little crazy, and this is another, shows you some, like how strict some other countries are out there. Chinese government bans the word Leica after a controversial tank man photo featured in new ad. So this is the ad, I'll play for a minute, but I just want you to see what it's about. So pretty much it's called The Hunt, and it shows like a photojournalist documenting the Chinese government's crackdown on a pro-democracy protest in Beijing back in 1989. So it's pretty much reenacting what went down in the late 80s. And then when you look at it, he pulls up that Leica, and right in the lens you start seeing what he's shooting, and there it is, some tanks going on with the whole famous scene going on there. And just over this, they're saying you can't use the word Leica in our country anymore. Leica is saying this wasn't a sanctioned ad. They didn't, even though you can see their branding like clear as day that this wasn't, they didn't get permission for it and all that stuff. So read this article down below if you want to know more about that. But pretty much that's just bananas. Let's talk about something a little more lighthearted. How about this? Luminar 3.1 features completely human-aware AI filter. So if you can see here that it basically can detect a person, and then it'll actually mask them, so you only edit the scene itself and not the actual person that's in it, so you can keep skin tones how you want them and just make the dramatic whatever you want going on there. Personally, this is what I do when I actually light something, but if you're someone that does do a lot of post editing, I guess this is useful for you. Or what I try to tell people is this is a good place to start. Like you start creating the scenes you want in post maybe, and then you start trying to figure out, well, how can I get that in camera? How do I create the lighting I want? But it is pretty cool that it's more accurate and easier to use and things like that, so that's awesome. And I did want to give attention to this. I got to give it to the photographer on this one. Bruce Davis is actually having a gallery show. This famous legacy of a street photographer is showing some of his work here in New York. It's opening up on May 2nd, and it is going to June 15th at the Howard Greenberg Gallery, and I'll put the link below, so if you're in New York, you can go check that out. Go and check out the galleries and spaces in your area. If you're in a major city and you're not going to see the work physically on a wall and not through a screen with who knows what kind of calibration, or just like a print, like see a print. It's amazing. I remember seeing so many black and white shows, and the last show that I saw, this Avedon show in Chelsea, was such a treat and such a privilege to be in front of his prints and looking at the actual silver gelatin, as opposed to all these books that are just copies of copies, reprints, low-res images on the internet. Like, do yourself a favor and go to a gallery and really see an image presented to you exactly how the photographer wanted it to be presented, or perceived it, pretty much. Or within reason, pretty much. I just wanted to give you guys that heads up. So that's the industry news. It was a lot. I ranted a lot. I can't believe I'm getting through this. I do want to clue you into some things that happened Adorama based. Let's just go through this. So this is a series that I think a lot of people need to know about. So on Adorama TV, we have Keith Alexander, an amazing audio technician. He does some great stuff like showing you how to create your own leads, or how to really decipher what good sound is. And in this episode, it's ADR, automatic dialogue replacement. So he shows you how to do like dubbing and things like that. And proper ways and, you know, things that you could fall into, traps and stuff you should look for, and or just how to record sound. So if you're someone that's like into filming or looking to get into the sound end of things, because we definitely placate to you guys as well, there's definitely a lot of pro video and pro audio content on our channel and more to come, just so you know. But check out Keith Alexander. I believe his name is Noise Miner on social media. The guy's great, a lot of fun to watch, hilarious, good heart, and really has amazing information and a level of experience that's unmatched out there. It's crazy how he's not even in America, and I mention his name and people know who he is just in the industry here. So go check that out if you're a sound person. And I'm gonna give myself a crazy plug here. I was live here in the event space before the break, and I did this demo over here where I showed you guys how to refine your light using fill light and just showing a lot of different ways to really clean up your studio lighting game. So don't forget about Adorama on Facebook. There is a plethora, a library of videos, and most of it is right here in the event space live. Daniel Norton shooting live, Vanessa Joy, me, the Photographer, Photo Brigade. So much stuff happens in this event space, and if you aren't in New York or you couldn't come be a part of it, because I know we work a lot in New York and sometimes you can't make it here, go to Adorama's Facebook, facebook.com/Adorama, and just check out the videos there, drop comments, let us know what you're feeding on, let us know what you're into, let us know if there's stuff that we haven't touched on that you could use for a live demo. We'll get on it. It's me and Dan, yo, we can get it going for you. This is what we do. And I'm also going to, before I reveal some crazy stuff, I just want to say a huge thank you to RangeFinder Magazine. You guys let me write up 10 ways to create stylized light, along with a DIY guide to doing, this is probably blowing out on camera, but a DIY guide on using found materials to refine your light and all sorts of stuff. There's our very own Vanessa Joy that I shot, and my collaboration with Daniel Norton, which they posted on their Instagram, and they didn't give credit to Daniel just by miscommunication, but this shot is definitely a collaboration with me and Daniel Norton. You probably can't even see it, I don't know. But go to RangeFinder Mag and check it out. And also, you can go subscribe to this. I think you just got to sign up. I don't think it even costs anything. Or there's also a digital version of this magazine. Just go to RangeFinder. Go to RangeFinder Magazine and just flip through it digitally if you want to. Let me know what you guys think about my guide there, if there's anything helpful, if there's anything I should elaborate on. RangeFinder, thank you so much for the platform. And finally, I'm going to leave you guys with this. Sunday, May 5th, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. In theory, I'm hoping that this goes off, but Adorama handed to me. Twitch. That's right, kids. We are going to be launching a Twitch channel. In fact, check it out right here. Right there, kids. Right there. AdoramaXP. Let me just point it out right there. AdoramaXP, right there. It's real, kids. AdoramaXP. If you're on Twitch, you're a gamer, you play, come play with me. I'm gonna be going hard on this one. Every Sunday you can count on me and my co-host Josh Soleil, who is a host for Marvel. He was just at the red carpet for Endgame, and not to mention Microsoft, and as an Apple tech, like, we are legit. This is not anything marketing wise. I'm not kidding you. We are going to be legit playing games. That's right. My career now consists of playing video games. Congratulations, 14-year-old Seth Miranda. You did it. You are professionally playing video games. We are going to be playing mainly PC-based games. We're going to grow this channel as much as we can. This is the channel as it stands. So if you go to twitch.tv/AdoramaXP, hit follow, and you will not miss out on the official launch. I'm going to slowly build the page this week. We will have people doing takeovers to play a lot of professional gamers, a lot of really well-known gamers, and some really just crazy characters that I've known over the years through the scene from Comic-Con mostly. And I'm super excited about this. I can't believe it's actually happening, and it was a long time in the making just because we were trying to iron out a bunch of loose ends on it, but we're going to be featuring different PCs all the time. You're going to be seeing the performance of these machines pretty much live. So me and Josh will be going live every Sunday, and then through the week, you'll be seeing some takeover things going on. So get on AdoramaXP now. Twitch is, Twitch. All All right. Oh my gosh, this was so much, and I thank you guys tremendously for reaching out and wondering where Adorama Rewind went. It's here. I'm back. Don't worry about it. So, question of the week. What am I going to talk about? What, where, how, when, why? Let me know what your favorite moment was from episode 3 of Game of Thrones. I got to know. There were so many little micro stories going on. I'm just wondering where you guys sit on this. I mean, there were some amazing moments. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to say anything. Watch out on those comments, though. And also, I gotta put it out there. Where do you think the MCU is going to go from here? I want to know. I want to know. And I know usually we could talk about photo nerd stuff, but where do you think Marvel Universe goes from here? What's the next phase? What characters should they feature? What storylines should they go after? I mean, this was monstrous. I feel absolutely privileged to live in a time where I got to watch years and years of films that all intertwined with some of my favorite characters with some amazing cinematic quality and level to it. Oh man, we're so fortunate. I can only imagine what the next generation is going to get, especially with the technology we have to make these amazing pieces of work going forward. All right, you guys can follow me at Last X Witness. I will see you guys next week. Hit like, share this around. This can only grow or keep the resources for this can only grow if you guys keep feeding into it. And your end of it's pretty much free. Just write comments. Talk to each other in those comments. Don't just wait for my response. Go and talk to each other. Be communal. Share this around. And don't forget, kids, there's always something new coming from Adorama. So subscribe to everything. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Every platform has something. And we don't try to recycle our content. So we're working real hard over here. Some big things coming next month. Adorama's IGTV. I'll try to get back on there to do demos live, but if I can't get on there, I'll be sure to do things on my own channel when I can. There's not enough hours in the day. It's crazy. All right. Wow. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Later, guys. Peace.